So here we are again, new toy here, thanks to Elas, 300 TPI 2021, a project that I fancied doing for a while, brand spanker here. I've literally not touched it, not fired up or anything yet, just come from the local dealer, Road and Track, over in the Isle of Man here. 500 is actually just at home, out on that the other day, still can't say enough about it. The bike's brilliant, not missed a beat. Apart from some engine mounts snapping on it, that's the only problem I've had with it. Been racing it in local enduros, which are tough events over here, bit of everything, muddy, so yeah, real good. So now the 500's all good to go and you know, spot on. So this is the new project now. I'm gonna just put a hose kit and fan and stuff on it really first, keep it pretty standard for the first times out. Well, I will keep it standard. I'm just going to put some wheels that I've got ready or already with mousses in. What else we need to do to it? I'll put a fan on it because you get a bike for £9 and it doesn't even come with a fan or a sump guard on. Put a sump guard when it turns up, and that's pretty much it. I'll put my handlebar bend on it, but I'm going to leave the engine, exhaust, everything standard on the thing. Suspension, just to see what it's like as a bog standard bike, and then I'll do the same modification to the shock which I did on the 500, something similar. I'll do a K-Tech fork internal kit to try, which I've also done on the 500. I've been playing with it a bit, so I've got a little bit of info what to do to that. Two strokes obviously a little bit different, so we might have a few different ideas with it. So the plan is really to make a real good extreme weapon out of this. So I'm just looking forward to getting stuck into this really for the winter. Get the lights on it, get out in the evenings and get back to what I know, which is tough extreme enduros, and you know, I can go out that door over there, straight up into the hills over here, and just train for it. So we'll get stuck into it and see what happens. So first of all, I'm just going to get the tank and that off and get the hose, do a hose kit on it, and yeah, and see where we go from there. This is all new to me, this machine. As you know, I'm not a big lover of fuel injection, and you know, the four strokes have got much better over the years. The TPIs you get over here, I've ridden them, and I rode a brand new 2020 model not so long ago, and it felt pretty good. It was lacking for me, it was lacking bottom end power compared to the 2017, which was on a carb, which I raced. Pretty similar bike, to be fair, other than that. Just the one I rode, it was just very lean, and it was rich in places, lean in others, so we'll see what the 21's like. I've been in touch with a couple of people already that think they can make big improvements with the mapping and with the cylinder head and stuff, so yeah, excited to get stuck into it and do a bit of hard push and slogging extreme stuff again. The first obvious thing different is obviously when you take the seat off, you've got a massive ECU, obviously injectors here. I've not read this, where the oil goes from the oil tank injected into the cylinder, throttle body. Yeah, pretty impressive bike really, but you know, it's all well and good looking at it on a stand and when it's all new and shiny here, but we need to get it in the woods, and obviously they can get them working right. You know, you've got Jarvis and Lettenbecker, them guys that are going well on them now. Anyway, we've got this, and we'll have a good go at getting the engine and everything running as good as I possibly can, and yeah, have some fun doing it. All the Samco hoses put on it. Basically just better quality hoses and clips, and it gets rid of that thermostat which they don't let any water through, they're just a nightmare, you know, something to go wrong. So we just take that off, get rid of it, throw it in the bin. Put a fan on it, put the fuse in for the fan. Yeah, I need to find the wire for the map switch and I'll put the switch on it. Just so I can have a bit of a play around with that and see what I like. Triple clamps out of it, yokes. Not that there's anything wrong with the stock ones, to be honest. I quite like them, but I just don't like the position on them. There they are. The position on the 2 holes. So I use the X-shaped 3 holes on it. I can just get a lot more comfortable. I run them on the middle hole facing back. So other than them looking smart, and the rocks are good actually, where they clamp the forks. They don't clamp the fork like a normal triple clamp and make it bind. They are proven to be a lot better, so yeah, I throw them on anyway. Another thing that I do on the bearing races is swap them. We've got some here. Yeah, there we go. So I've got offset bearing races. I got these quite a few years ago, cost a hell of a lot of money, and that holds the fork angle. I don't like how the front end, somehow on all the KTMs, the front end feels a little bit steep for me. And there's some, even that KTM over there, the orange one, that was my 2012 factory bike. That's got a different frame on, which basically does a similar thing. An easy fix is to shorten the rear shock, which 99% of people do on a KTM EXC. Obviously run the PDS, so they drop the shock down a little bit, and that allows the forks to go out a little bit more, so that does a similar thing. With me being tall, I don't want to lower the bike, you know, I want to leave the bike tall, so I run the rear end pretty high still and kick the front end out of the bike, and just run it on 22 offset. Yeah, we'll see. I might just run it bog standard first. That's the idea. I'm gonna just put the triple clamps in it and ride it, and then swap them at a later date, just to, you know, just to get another opinion again on this bike compared to the 500. There's all the little tiny things that you know, that make a massive difference. One thing I have noticed on this, which I don't like, is no kickstart. That'll just be a marketing thing to, you know, so everyone goes and spends another 500 quid on buying a kickstart. So I suppose it works, you know. Not good for the customer, but it's good for KTM. Yeah. So yeah, at least it has got a place for kickstart, which is, for me, it's, you know, you've got to have that on a bike for extreme enduro. I've been a rider before that's been stuck in a valley and literally 3 hours trying to get out because the starter gear broke, and yeah, got no end of grief for the missus because she was due a scan when she was pregnant. I think it was when she was pregnant with him 7 years ago, nearly 8 years ago, and I was stuck in a gully trying to get the bike started. I couldn't because there was nowhere to bump it, and I just had to drag it down this gully for 3 hours, which was bloody good training, but it wasn't worth the ear bending and the abuse I got when I got home. That's for certain. It was your fault, didn't it? It was your fault. Okay, here we have the 300 KTM, standard shock, brand new. Alright, that's the bare shock body now. We've got the standard bottle off with the shitty plastic piston in. Actually, a guy sent me from America. It shows you how hot a shock gets. He sent me a picture of his off an XCW, which is an American version of an EXC PDS shock off a 350, and that plastic piston had absolutely melted, just melted in half. I couldn't believe it when I seen it, but it just shows you that they are not good enough for the purpose they're made for. So on this one, I've got an alley piston in me 500 shock, and I've tried both the K-Tech bladder and that. There's no difference hardly between them for me. So on the 300 I'm going to put this K-Tech bladder on it. It's the bladder inside, rubber. And then I put this on it, then I can back to back. I'm putting the same setting in, so just a case I can swap springs and take 2 shocks out with me and see which one, you know, unless you're doing it the same day, the same sort of time, just swap the shock over on a PDS bike, takes a minute. I can, you know, put the same springs on both, set the sag and everything the same, and then just, you know, ride until I notice any difference, and then I can really see what I do prefer. Because as it is, swapping them, stripping the shock, really I've noticed no difference between a bladder and piston, to be honest. You know, maybe as well in the winter when everything's a lot more slick, tree roots and stuff, I might notice a difference, because in theory a bladder should be a little bit more supple at the beginning, not as harsh as what a piston is. You know, you've got gas in that against a rubber balloon, so it should soak up more than a piston moving. But saying that, the piston from Julian that I put in the alley one with the Teflon bush and everything on it, there's obviously very little stiction on it, so yeah, it'll be surprising and surprising. it might throw up a few surprises when you back to back it together, so we'll soon see. So shock, shims, revalve, setting. This is something I want to show you. So this is what comes on your standard piston. Pretty shit. So we replace it with the one from K-Tech, which is a proper one. Metal, not plastic, Teflon coated. So it just goes on here. Yeah. Piston ring. Yeah, perfect. Much better job. Alright, we've got front wheel in. I've just took a second-hand wheel I've got in, good tyre on it, moose, nicely broken in moose. Forks are in it with the K-Tech set up inside, fans on. Just doing the back brake now, so rear brake caliper. I've got this 101 Racing, some stuff I had made myself a few years ago. Seen what was on the market, was good, tried to improve it a little bit. So we put that on for hard enduro just to obviously save the rear disc. I've got the shocking bits, just waiting for some shims, and yeah, just really now, rear wheel moose. I'll put a TM Designs chain guide on, bulletproof swing arm protector. The Knighter pegs are on it, Raptor, Safco hose kit. I want an ultimate pin in the clutch lever. I shorten the little pin in there because I'm a bit strange. Have me, well, everyone knows that. But you have the clutch lever real close to the bars, which I think it was from the old 525 KTM days, where if you pulled the clutch in on that, you lost 2 seconds. So I just learned to ride without using the clutch really, and I just feathered it, and it was right in close to the handlebar. Ever since then, I've always had my clutch with like a Brembo hydraulic clutch in really close to the bar, and most people get on my bike and like, shit, how the hell do you ride with this? But I've just made it work. Yeah, I don't really know why. It's just how it is, I guess. So, right, finally we are ready. A few second-hand bits on her, but I think she's ready to go and give it a run around the yard. A service headlight, I've not really tried that properly yet, but I've just tried it out in the yard here on my 4-stroke, and it looked like it was really good. I have got a light bar as well, a Task Racing one to go on it. Done my little clutch pin mod, got my gut seat on, that's me medium height one. Got my chain guide, I've just put the shock, I'm waiting for shims on the shock, so that's a shock straight out of my 500 over there. Had an exhaust guard there that I left it on off the old bike. Not a perfect fit, but she'll do until I get one. I've just got to put a Hinton cover on, which actually I'll do now before I take it outside and get it dirty. There we go, Hinton clutch cover. I've put the bigger foot brake pedal on and also stuck a couple of washers under it just to lift it a little bit, as I like the rear brake pretty high. So yeah, we'll just go and have a bit of a ride around the yard on it and see how it actually feels. But that's another thing I did as well. Say spending 100 odd quid on a map switch, I just put one of them on. So that's soft map, fast map. So yeah, K-Tech fork kit in them forks, 4.6 springs, or 0.46 I should say. So yeah, let's give it a whirl. And here we go. The dog will go mad. Shush! I want to go second gear here, but the way this is at the minute won't pull the skin of rice pudding. So it's flat, I won't even go second. Normally I'd be second up here easy, third in some places. So, oi, I know you're faster. So, what do I think of the 300EXC standard 2021? Well, it runs okay. It runs better than what I've experienced I've had with, which is very little, with TPIs. I've rode a couple that have ran well, I've rode a couple that have ran bad. So this is the first sort of bog standard stock pipe, which is probably one of the best pipes anyway on them. That's what my always sort of feeling, but hopefully I can get proved wrong. I've put my handlebars on, I've done the shock on the bike, I've put K-Tech bladder conversion on it, and I've revalved it. Pretty much similar to what I've done to the 500, that works really well. The forks, I've put a K-Tech kit in. It does work better, but it's way too soft for me. The valving, not the springs, the valving's way too soft, so we'll play around with that a bit more. I did try it in the 500, and it did work, to be fair, it worked well, but it's just way too soft for me, so I'm going to have to play with that a little bit. I fitted a fan to the bike. I put a map switch on, but it doesn't seem to do anything, so I pulled the wires out the other day and just joined it up again, and it still doesn't seem to do anything if I disconnect the wires and things, so maybe it's just the maps are not that different. But I am a little bit disappointed, to be honest, in it's got 1350 gearing and it just doesn't pull like I expected it would. It's flat, really flat. Once you get the revs up a little bit, it seems okay, but you know, I rode me a carb version of this in 2017, really liked the bike. I put a cane on it, took the Mikuni off, 36mm, and it pulled. It'd go around here in second gear all the way easily, where this, and I had an XC gearbox which was taller geared than this. This is stock gearbox and it still won't pull second gear. I'm in first slogging it, but then as soon as you get the revs up a bit it'll spin. So but that's why I've got the bike. You know, Gary at Elas kindly bought the bike for me to do some testing and stuff on, and with a view of possibly doing extreme enduro again next year, which I'd love to have a go at again. So yeah, the reason was, you know, we've got some interesting things we're going to try with this bike. It's all new to me, you know. Everyone knows I like my carb, but the 500 KTM is pretty much, with the Vortex on it, has changed my opinion finally after what, 10 years of fuel injection. I'm really happy with that bike, you know. This chassis on this is obviously really good, similar to what the 500 would be, but just, yeah, disappointed with that pull of the engine. Yeah, I'm lighter than I was then. I'm like a stone and a bit lighter than I was in 2017, so there's no excuse. So yeah, we're going to send off the head and send off the ECU to Two Stroke Performance in Wales. He's going to send a couple of different option heads, send the ECU back, and then we'll come back around here and see if it's any better. It can't be much worse, to be honest. You know, I can see, I'm not slating it, like people would say, oh, he's slagging that KTM off already and stuff. I'm not slating it, I'm just disappointed. It's a 300 two-stroke, it should have a bit more go in it than what it has. For trail riding, which, you know, I'm sure KTM know how to build a bike, they know how to build a fucking hell of a powerful two-stroke, 250 or 300. I think it's the way the sport's gone a lot, where people want these for trail riding, and they're buying a 300 KTM Husky gas, and they want a real smooth engine, which, you know, I know a friend of mine's just got one of these, and my mate was telling me he absolutely loves it because it's so smooth. So I can get the thing, but for me, you know, personally, for me to go and do extreme on, there needs to be a lot of work. You know, young Lettenbecker, he's obviously winning Romaniacs and stuff on them. Their bikes will be nothing what a standard one is at the moment, I think, and I think now more apart to what a carb bike was. You know, my bike in 17 was pretty much a standard bike with a different carb. I put a cane on it, 36, and had it machined a little bit. So, and pretty much that was that. You know, back then had a FMF silencer on it, and the bike was good, like I say. But we'll get this. I'm sure we'll get this running good, and that's a challenge. That's what I'm here to do. So let's see how we get on.